This is my 14-inch iBook G4 from late 2004, and I wanted to know if this thing was still usable in any form in 2023. So first, I'm going to show the specs. So this has 512 megabytes of RAM. It has a 80 gigabyte hard drive, I believe, and a 1.33 gigahertz PowerPC G4 processor. This unit was released in late 2004, and the max OS that it can run is macOS 10.5.8, at least officially. A lot of people say that downgrading these makes them faster. I haven't tried that yet. This only has 512 megabytes of RAM, which isn't all that much, and it can be upgraded, and I assume that upgrading it will help a lot. A lot of browsers dropped support around 2010 to 2013, but there are still a couple of browsers that keep support. So 10.4 Fox was the standard for PowerPC machines until around 2019-2020, I believe, when they discontinued that. Now, interweb PowerPC seems to be what everybody's using, and it seems to be pretty good, but there are a lot of websites that can't load. Even closing tabs can be kind of hard with how slow it is. I assume that the RAM upgrade would help this somewhat, though. Now I'm going to test how long it takes to load websites, first with eBay. Still not done loading, actually. So it took about 14 seconds to load eBay up, which isn't bad, but considering a modern computer, or even an older computer, can load it in 2, 3, maybe max 5 seconds, this time isn't amazing. But considering that this is from a nearly 20-year-old computer that was considered obsolete, 5, 10 years ago, this is pretty good. Now I'm going to do apple.com. So 50 seconds in, it seems like the web browser crashed, which I was not expecting. It doesn't run apple.com. Not that a lot of people would want to go to apple.com on this. I'm even going to try to load YouTube on this thing and see just if it works. I doubt it will, because apparently these G4 machines had a really hard time playing YouTube. So I've been messing with this for about 15-20 minutes trying to make this load, and it won't load. I don't know why. I'm gonna say this thing cannot run YouTube at all. It loads the website, but the video does not load. And the one time that it did load, it was pretty much skipping like 10-15 seconds ahead. It would not play smoothly. So YouTube is pretty much out of the picture on the iBook G4, unfortunately, but what can you expect from a computer that's 20 years old? So for general web browsing, this machine really doesn't do all that well. And I didn't expect it to. What about iMovie? Can it do any sort of video editing? Let's see. I'm gonna try and actually edit some video from my iPhone 3GS on this iBook right now. So it is possible to edit on an iBook G4, but it's not that good of an experience as I've only loaded a couple of clips into the timeline, and it's already lagging. And of course, this is not going to do anything with newer phones or newer cameras, as the resolutions are just way too high, and this really can't handle anything higher than maybe an iPhone 3GS, maybe even like a 4. And this computer's hardware is pretty outdated. This came out before there was really a right-click button on a trackpad, and when the only way to right-click really is to control-click. And this came out before two-finger scrolling was really a thing. Later iBooks, I believe, did have two-finger scrolling, but this one doesn't seem like it does. This computer even lacks a webcam. Instead of having a webcam, there's a display close latch up at the top of the lid. None of the G4's I/O is that useful anymore either. Most new devices use USB-C, and this does not have that. This was about 10 years away from USB-C. This has FireWire 400, which was pretty good for the time, but nowadays there's not that much that uses FireWire, if anything. It has 10100 Ethernet, a modem jack. It even has one of these VGA type ports, and it's got a headphone jack, of course. It's cool to me how pretty much one USB-C port can replace all of these older ports. For playing CDs and DVDs, there is a DVD drive, and apparently people used to use these as like DVD players, which seems like a pretty cool use for it. The only reason that these sell is because of enthusiasts. These can run old software, old games, all that, and they're just cool devices to have for collectors and enthusiasts. But for everyday people, these are trash. And I'm saying that as an enthusiast. A lot of these do just get thrown out. They end up in e-waste, or they just end up being thrown on eBay untested, and that's when enthusiasts buy them and fix them up and then resell them a lot of the time. And I really don't blame people for recycling these and throwing them out, because to a lot of people, it's just some 20-year-old laptop that they don't want anymore that's been sitting around forever. I can't think of a single reason why an everyday person would go out and buy an iBook. It doesn't make sense. Same thing with old iPhones like my 3GS. They are obsolete, and this iBook is very much obsolete, but it's a cool collector's item. So, this really does show just how much computers have aged. So thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully this gave a lot of people some insight about these iBooks and just how they are in 2023. And goodbye.